going on, everybody? Welcome to Who You Got with
Melo.
and Rado. It's a sports podcast where we talk your favorite sports debates, sports highlights, and sports matchups. And thank you guys. If you guys are watching with us, make sure you go ahead and click that like button below, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We love every single one of you guys, so please help us reach those 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And also, if you guys are uh, on listening to us on the podcast sites, then just check us out anywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. And if you guys just want to find us everywhere, find everything all at once, you can go check out our website.
Who you got podcast.com. We got everything there. We got pretty much all the videos, all the podcasts, all the blogs, all the merch, everything you need. Also got links to all the places you need to go to make sure you stay connected.
That's right. That's right. And of course, if you guys want to check out some of our merch, and if you guys just want to ask us some general questions and just give some general support to the show, definitely check us out on Patreon. That's the place to go. If you want to ask us questions about the show or just write down maybe a topic that we can do on the show, that's patreon.com/who you got. Definitely check us out there. And of course, we also got our personal pages on Instagram. I'm the Iconic Dude and Mello.
Melo the Notorious.
That's right. So we got another fight week this week. It seems like 2023 is full of fight weeks. So
Oh
who we
yeah.
got this week? Who we got?
Oh yeah, we definitely got a lot of good cards this year, UFC and boxing alike. And finally, it's about time boxing started giving us fights that we want to see. So this week we're gonna be talking about the heavyweight bout coming up this weekend against Anthony Joshua and Jermaine Franklin. And these are two big boys. Anthony Joshua, former two-time heavyweight champion, only three losses was to Ruiz and now Usyk twice, who's the now champion, and Jermaine has only lost once. So they both know how to bang, and I'm definitely excited to see that fight this weekend, man.
It's gonna be exciting, and I'm very excited to see Anthony Joshua again. I mean, I know the last few times we've seen him recently, it hasn't been the greatest, and honestly, both of these guys, the last time they fought, they both lost. But this is gonna be an incredible fight, a style of matchups, and should be great to watch Anthony Joshua back in the O2 Arena. First time he's fought there since 2016.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it's been a while since we've seen Anthony Joshua look like honestly what he is
What he
two
wa-
and
what he was
five in his
supposed to be,
last.
honestly, right?
I would say 2-5 in his last five, or 2-3 in his last five. That's what the loss to Weeze and the two losses to Usyk. And a lot of people honestly is writing him off. If you can't be the best, and I guess what can you be? So we're definitely excited to see him get back in the ring after he lost his belts and kind of see what he has to offer. Franklin, on the other hand, we actually got a little bit of him. I think a few months ago when we saw him, actually last year, we saw him against who was it? Dylan
He
White.
just fought White, and
Yep,
it was honestly that was a crazy
he looked
fight. A
pretty
lot of
good.
people, a lot of people have that as a controversial fight, and I'll be honest, I do as well. I rewatched that fight recently, and I do think it was a controversial decision.
So who you think won? Dylan White?
Well, White won, but a lot of people thought that Franklin could have had a chance to win that. It was very close fight, and White did pull out in the end, but it was controversial.
So, so I think Franklin looked good in that fight. Honestly, he definitely shown that he could go up there and bang with the big boys. So I'm definitely excited to see what this fight got to offer.
That's true.
But what I'm really excited though is to see how I'll be honest. I think Anthony Joshua is one of the best heavyweights. Um, and I'll be honest, and I'm gonna pull up clips because I've won on record saying this, and this is before everyone started giving him hate now because now they see who he is. I never once thought Tyson Fury was the best heavyweight. I said from the get go he could have had a chance to stay overseas and fight his way up to fight for the four belts that Josh had, but he
Yep.
took the easy way in, wanted to
He
fight
ducked him,
Wilder for
bro.
the one belt, and then literally fought one man for like 5 years, and then fought
He
a
ducked
scrub
him.
after that. So now that they see him ducking Usyk, everyone see what I've been saying. Before Usyk came up, I had said Anthony Joshua was the best. Then it was Fury, then it was Wilder. I understand that. Now you got to put Usyk on top. And I think that
Really?
Anthony Joshua is still better than Fury.
Wow. Yeah, see, I mean,
Anthony Joshua is one of the best. Is Usyk's size and speed as a cruiserweight coming up? He just provide angles to all these heavyweights that they just really don't work well with. Fury might be the best matchup because he is a little bit quick, but I don't think any true heavyweight can beat Usyk and outbox Usyk.
Usyk's a lot faster than all these heavyweights for sure. I mean, Anthony Joshua to me was one of the fastest
He
heavyweights that we've
was
ever seen. Hand speed
physically
incredible, and
gifted heavyweight we've ever seen.
exactly that too. For me, he's definitely top five heavyweights of all time already. I mean, even though like yeah, he's 3-2 in his last five fights. I will say that look at him up until 2016, we both saw him as probably one of the best heavyweights that we've ever seen. Like before, up until like the 90s, and Tyson was there, but not Fury. I'm talking about Mike Tyson, of course. But
Right.
now that we got, Tyson Fury kind of dug Joshua for a few years. Didn't want to fight. Obviously, the biggest fights didn't really happen when Joshua was trying to make them happen. And there's a reason why he was taking like time off. And then when he went to fight Ruiz after the Andy Ruiz fight, that's kind of when you saw he wasn't prepared for that fight. And after that, it seemed like since then he's taken a slight of a downturn, but he is trying to get back to that top heavyweight status. I think if he does, he will definitely be considered one of the best heavyweights again, and probably, I mean, he's definitely top three in my eyes, but he could even go up more.
I don't know about top three of all time. to me, he is the best heavyweight in our
Well, I'm
generation.
talking about right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah, he's already top three still. So here's my thing. We seen him do have a great career to start off with. We saw him falter a little bit against Vladimir, but he ended up pulling through. Um, but when we see him fight Ruiz, it's not that he didn't look too good. He just went in there with a fast, speedy brawler, and tried to sit there and I don't want to say dance around, but he should have not have stayed in that pocket like he should. He was
Right.
too confident in himself. And
Yes.
he
Yes.
took a hit in the third and he never regained his legs.
Yep.
He came
Definitely
back
got hit there.
second fight, outboxed the hell out of Ruiz. Made sure he wasn't gonna sit there and get into a brawling match, got his titles back. With Usyk, I don't think he understood what he was getting himself into, or with like I said, the speed and the angles Usyk provided. Usyk uh wasn't gonna try to get a knockout. He was there to box.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, in the second fight, uh, he came in more prepared. It just wasn't enough again.
Yeah, he
Uh,
looked a lot better in that second Usyk
a
fight for
lot
sure.
better.
But when Usyk throws so many punches, and Anthony Joshua is just kind of moving around the ring and just throwing jabs, and Usyk is literally throwing like 3-1 the amount of punches that Joshua is. I mean, the judges they have to score it higher for Usyk that way because I mean,
Oh no, he
punches
lost
thrown
the
is
fight for
huge,
sure. He
especially when it goes
definitely
to
lost the
decision.
fight. But he looked better.
For sure, he
But
looked better.
it just
But
wasn't enough. So like right now, I still got him against any other heavyweight.
hmm. So
Um,
let's talk about this fight then, Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. Um, April 1st in the O2 Arena. Let's talk about it. What do you think about this one?
So obviously we just talked about Joshua. Like I said, the reason why I love that he comes back in his rematches with new game plans is because he shows that he could be a smart fighter. He has good IQ and he's gonna try to bring the tools he needs to bring. The best part about that is he got Derek James. Derek James is a new trainer. For those
Trainer,
of you
yeah.
who don't know, he is currently training super welterweight champion Jermell Charlo and welterweight champion Earl Spence.
That's
So he is definitely someone who emphasize on outboxing your opponent. Yeah, you can get your punches off. Like obviously, if you knock him out, you knock him out. But the name of the game is to outbox your opponent. So I definitely expect him to have a really put pressure on AJ to throw that jab out, limit Franklin's movement, and definitely try to control the pace and the distance of the fight. Um, but for me, he's honestly facing probably the worst style that he can right now, and a shorter, far reach, fast paced brawler that's honestly just like Andrew Ruiz. And we've seen how that caught him. And there's someone with a shorter frame. It just seems to be a little bit difficult for Anthony Joshua. His only three losses came to shorter boxers. So definitely got to say something about that. Um, But I do think that Franklin is gonna come in there and do some work, man. So what about you? What do you see from Franklin? Because like we did spend some time talking about AJ, and I am gonna talk a little bit about Franklin, but I want to see because you did say you watched some of his fights recently again. How you think he's gonna do?
Well, like I said, just the most recent fight against that Dylan White fight, I definitely thought it was questionable decision. And I mean, I know that boxing always has like these little questionable decisions, but this one was a little bit more egregious than others. And if you look at the scorecards, you'll definitely see why. One judge had it like totally on on Franklin's side, and the other two were definitely on White. So it was a crazy split decision. But before that, he did take a long break, so we really hadn't seen much of him. Now, the one thing about Franklin I will say is he likes to end rounds or end fights early too. I mean, he has a knockout percentage of 63%, and his average fight time is around 5 rounds. So that's very early for a heavyweight like himself, which you know a guy like Joshua is very similar to that actually. He likes to end fights early too, and in his career he has, except the last 5 fights it hasn't really been like that for him. His average fight time is around like 5 rounds as well, so they're very comparable there. Joshua does have higher knockout percentage, but they're very comparable in that knockout percentage. So that's one thing you're gonna have to watch for, because like you said, Joshua has trouble with the shorter boxers, and for some reason, those shorter boxers can always go with that right jab on Joshua. They go with the right jab, and then they go with the combos. I'm definitely gonna have to watch that for Franklin, because I know that him changing trainers is huge for Joshua. It's definitely huge changing trainers. I think that he needed that because he needs to be able to throw more punches against a guy like Franklin. I think Franklin's gonna be throwing a lot of punches in this fight, and I definitely expect a lot of punches to be thrown in this fight. Now, with Franklin, you're definitely gonna have to watch if he's gonna be the one controlling the pace of the fight. Like you said, that Joshua's gonna be most likely controlling the pace, and most likely with a stance he will. He likes to move forward more. He likes to keep his opponent towards the corner of the ring, not really towards the sides of the ring, but towards the corner of the ring. So he gets the right and the left side. He's just able to control it. But I do see White trying to move around a lot more than Joshua. He does like to use those side to side movements a lot more. So I will like to see Joshua in the later rounds, but Joshua is not known for losing his conditioning in the later rounds. He's very good in his conditioning, even in the fights that he lost. I mean, even to the Usyk fights, both of those fights, even towards the later rounds, he was losing the fight, but his conditioning was still there. So one thing you definitely got to watch in this is definitely conditioning. But I'm not gonna get my fight prediction just yet, because I want to know what you think about Franklin this one too. I want to know if you think he has a chance in this one.
Like I said, he's definitely reminiscent of Andy Ruiz. He got power, but he has fast, good hands. He's pretty accurate when he throws them, and like you mentioned, he loves starting that jab off and following up with a nice combination. He is very good at that. Um, I don't think that he's gonna be able to cut off the ring or not allow Anthony Joshua to cut off the ring as well as he expect. Anthony Joshua, his new coach is, like I said, they go in there to box, and that's part of what they do. Control that pace, control that distance, advance when you want, pull back when you want. Obviously for AJ, don't allow yourself to get caught in the corner. But I definitely think he's gonna be a lot more of the pressure and a lot more aggressive in this fight. In a smart way though.
Mm.
'Cause like you said, the second fight, he really didn't allow Usyk to really back him up into the last couple rounds. And I'll be honest, it was short of miraculous, like that those last 3 rounds, Usyk was still putting on that pressure. It was heavy pressure still,
Well,
and
when we talk about conditioning and
yeah,
fighters, Usyk's got that conditioning, bro. Like he is like
him
the
being
man. Like
concerned
he can finish fights all he wants, like without being tired. Seems like from the beginning of the first round, end of the 12th round, he'll throw the same amount of punches.
because he don't put anything on it, and that's why Usyk
A lot
is
of
like
people do have that problem with him.
he's a boxer. He's not
Yeah,
gonna sit there and try to knock. And at the end of the day, he's a
he's a
cruiserweight and
Floyd type of
halfway.
boxer.
He's not gonna sit there and try to throw
Floyd
everything,
Mayweather.
but he is gonna sit there and piece you up. And at the end of the day, when you get hit with anyone, like when we seen for the Caleb Plant and Benavidez, Benavidez didn't have to throw everything on them punches, but at the end of the day, once you just start hitting them and hitting them and hitting them, like at the end of the day, like it's gonna start affecting them. And at the end of the later rounds, now at that point, you start throwing everything
Yeah,
because
especially
Caleb
especially if
can't
you
even
hit that
play
same spot.
defense. Exactly. So
One thing I will say is that with Franklin, he does like to hit people with his left hand right on the side of the ribs. He loves doing that. So watch Joshua's ribs. I don't know if you remember, but when he fought Andy Ruiz, like he got hit in the ribs like in those later rounds, and he was like holding his ribs a little bit. But I mean, I'm sure he's definitely fine by now. But definitely watch that because Franklin loves to use that.
no, and that's the thing. Like I don't want to say it's gonna be completely all Derrick James, but like not only do I have full faith in Anthony Joshua, just the fact that he went and he knew he had to change it up again, and he knew he had to find a different way to pull out his skill set, and I definitely think Derrick did it, or it's gonna find a way to do it. So I definitely see Franklin inflicting damage early. Um, come a little aggressive in the early rounds. But I think that's what AJ's game plan is gonna be.
Mm.
He wants to break him down in the later rounds. I don't think AJ's looking for a knockout. Some people say he needs a knockout to save his career. I don't believe that. I think if he go out there and show that he can really outbox and just because we're not looking for him to knock everyone out. That's not like obviously some people that's what heavyweights do, but like that's not what we're looking for.
Right. He's not
He
Deontay Wilder. We don't need to see that from him.
and
I
he's
agree
never
with you.
gonna win his belts back by not like being a knockout artist. He needs to know how to outbox pretty much the top of the top. So I think he goes out there and he outbox. I think Franklin takes the first couple rounds. So I do think it's a close battle. I think it's very competitive. Um, but I do got your boy Anthony Joshua pulling away. I actually think he doesn't go for the knockout, but I think that your boy Franklin throws a little too much too early, with a little bit of frustration by being broken down. And I do believe that AJ ends up with the 11th round TKO.
So they're gonna stop the fight. Stop the fight.
Ain't gonna
He's
stop.
done. Hey, that's a good prediction. That's a good prediction, and I will agree that I don't think that it's gonna be a knockout, straight up knockout by AJ, because I do think that he does want to show people that he's learned with the new coaching, especially to be able to throw a lot more combinations. I think he wants to show that because we know that in the future who really wants to fight. I mean, this is just a stepping stone for AJ. I mean, really for both of these guys. You can see that this is a
No,
stepping stone for them.
whoever wins this fight is in title contention, and they're either gonna fight Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, or Alexander Usyk.
Exactly. So definitely a stepping stone for both of these guys, and they're both trying to win this fight. They both need it because both of these guys will like have a resurgence in their career if they do it. Now, I mean, obviously the physical prowess goes to Joshua, 6'6". He's got 82 reach to 77 reach advantage, and Franklin's only 6'2". So definitely you're gonna see the size difference in the ring, and I do believe that Anthony Joshua is gonna be backing him down and kind of walking him forward, keeping that pressure on him. I don't expect Franklin to be cutting off the ring too much. In the early rounds, I do expect him to be moving around the ring a lot more, especially the first 3 rounds. I expect him to be moving all over the ring. Once Joshua starts hitting those right jabs and just keeps him at bay with those right jabs, keeps hitting them, then goes in some combos, he'll step it up towards later fifth, sixth, seventh rounds. I do expect this to be a battle as far as I expect it to finish up in a decision, but I do think that it's going to be a pretty handled decision by Anthony Joshua. I expect him to win pretty handily. I think it's going to be like 120, 112, which means that he's going to win probably 10 rounds, and Franklin's going to win 2 rounds. That's all I got for him, for Franklin. I do think it's going to be a pretty bad beatdown after the first few rounds.
Nah, I give Franklin 4, and I give Joshua um, at least 7.
Hmm.
And the reason why I said I got 11th round because it more than likely is going to go to decision. But I think by the time if it gets to the 12th round, Anthony's going to pull back and just try to make sure he don't get caught with anything. But I do think he is going to be a little aggressive in that 11th round if he feels that it's within that grasp.
Yeah, I definitely
So
think that he could do that because he might want to give people a show. Like I said, this is the first time he's fought in the O2 Arena, since 2016. You know he wants to give London a show since he is from England. One of the one of the best British boxers that we've ever seen. I mean, Tyson Fury, of course, but you know,
He's better.
but he's out there still. But you know, there's definitely gonna be a battle for whoever wins this, and whoever wins this one is definitely gonna be talking shit to try to get that heavyweight matchup.
Oh no, whoever wins this one is definitely gonna be in contention. Like I said, it sets up for Deontay Wilder, who's just open and available. Or if we ever get that Tyson Fury and Usyk fight, it definitely sets up for someone to be next in line. Or if it doesn't pan out, um, we could still get Fury and Usyk versus one of them. Or if that fight does happen and the winner doesn't want one of them, the loser can easily take it. So at this
Yeah.
point, these five guys are going to keep fighting each other.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's definitely for sure. It's gonna be they are gonna be all fighting each other in the next like 2 years, and I think that belt's gonna be definitely moving around hands. But real quick, so you're saying that it's gonna be a TKO in the 11th round, and do you give let's give a percentage chance to Franklin? Do you give any percentage chance that Franklin can knock out Joshua, like 1 out of 100 or 0 out of 100? What's his chance to knock out Joshua? Because that's the only thing that I think
20.
Franklin wins. 20%?
He got a 1 in 5 shot.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna.
give him winning 4 rounds. So I think in 2 of those rounds, he got a real good shot.
Yeah, I give him about 10%. I give him about 10% chance, like that. So probably like 1 round. He's got a shot in 1 round or 1.5 rounds. If he gets him like woozy a little bit, then he's got to go for a knockout. But
And that's
you
what Ruiz did. He called him in that
yeah,
third, but you got to remember Ruiz got dropped first.
he did. But Ruiz caught him like twice. He got him once in the third round, and then he was. I think Joshua was
But that it
already
was over. No, no.
feeling it. He was already
After
feeling
that,
it.
everyone in the world, if you didn't see that fight, go watch it again.
Right.
Everyone in the world sees Anthony Joshua never got back off that canvas. His legs were gone.
Exactly. His legs were like
He
he wasn't
never
moving
came
them
back.
right. They were tight. They weren't loose at all. And
Yeah.
that's I will say that Franklin he does have a hard punch, but just with that reach, I don't think he has a shot to really get a knockout on Joshua. I mean, the 10% I give him, but it's really not a big shot.
No, and honestly, 20% is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's hard to judge percentages
I
of a
know.
knockout.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
but we are talking about someone who has, I think, 13, 14 knockouts on their record. So he knows how to punch, and like I said, he could catch Anthony in those first couple rounds. But the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Joshua.
Nice. And then just same question for Joshua, even though we already predicted that, what he's gonna do, but same prediction for Joshua. What do you think his percentage is that he can knock out Franklin?
20%. See, the
Same
only
thing
difference is, Joshua has a lot longer. Like he got 2, 3 rounds where he could do it, but his 2, 3 rounds are
in a
gonna be at
later.
the end. Yeah, because he's not gonna be able to knock Franklin out in the first 6 rounds, 7 rounds.
Yeah, you know what? I totally agree with that answer. I think I'll give him like 25%, but I totally agree. I think he'll be able to knock him out in the later rounds, if anything. If
Yeah.
it goes past the 10th round, then even the 11th and 12th, I could definitely see it. But
So the 11th, he's gonna headhunt. But if they get to the 12th, his coach might just tell him like, bro, don't
don't
even
don't
do it.
take that mistake. Don't make that
Yeah,
mistake.
don't even do it.
I
Yeah,
mean, I feel like he's definitely learned his lesson since the Ruiz fight, and in the second Usyk fight, he definitely started fighting harder
he
in
looked
the
better.
last rounds. Even though Usyk won 2 of those last rounds, like I think he won 9 and or sorry, he won 10 and 12. Usyk did, but um that right there, it still shows that like he won the 11th round, so he wasn't like backing down. He was still fighting
But
in
he
those later
also
rounds.
now I don't expect Franklin to provide that same type of pressure. But AJ also had nothing left in the tank though.
Yeah,
And it's not that he had nothing left in the tank, but he couldn't do anything himself because it was just constant punches coming in. Like he was just sitting there pretty much just kind of shelling up and like so that's why I said he hopefully he's a lot more conditioned because it's just any of these heavyweights like I will give Tyson Fury his credit. He is a very conditioned. That's what I said
he
for
is.
me he does uh pose the biggest threat to Usyk because of his style, and he is quick, and he can go 12 rounds in box with you as a heavyweight. Um, but I definitely do think AJ can get those skills too, and I do hope that he's coming there ready to fight.
Yeah, I will say that like Tyson Fury, he looks like he doesn't go to the gym or anything. He just goes
I
out there
know,
and just
but he goes out there 11, 12
but
round. He just sitting there
exactly. But
looking
he's
like he's
actually very
dying.
conditioned.
It's so
Like
weird. Yeah.
Joshua is the guy that you look at when you're like, yo, that's a heavyweight boxer. That's what a heavyweight boxer is supposed to look like. One thing I will give Franklin though, people said that he lost around 25 pounds just for this fight, and he has been working on his conditioning as well. So I think that because he knows it's
You
gonna
know
go
it's
into the
gonna be
late
a
rounds.
slugfest. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows it's gonna be a slugfest for sure. So just to break it down for you guys again, I got this fight in a decision, and I got AJ winning it, but it's gonna be pretty handily. I got it at 120 to 112, which means he's gonna win 10 rounds, and Franklin's gonna win 2 rounds.
And I got Anthony Joshua with 11th round TKO.
Nice, nice. So definitely, guys, let us know who you think is gonna win this fight. Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin happening on April 1st in the O2 Arena in London. It's gonna be a pretty incredible fight, I think. Even though we both think it's gonna be Joshua, it's still gonna be an incredible fight to watch. And like we both said, this is for huge, huge vital contention and like upcoming vital contention. Whoever wins this.
100%. And obviously, like I said, like we said, a lot of good cards this year. We just I think we just gotta cover Plant versus Benavides. And I think the next time you'll actually hear from us uh will be at the end of April. And if you don't know what's going on at the end of April, guys, I suggest that you get up to speed. We finally got on April 22nd. Uh,
The
Javante
fight
Tank
of the year for me.
Davis versus
Again,
Ryan the King Garcia.
say the
So
fight again because it's that good.
Javante Tank Davis versus Ryan the King Garcia.
I
So
swear, this is gonna be the fight of the year. I've been waiting for that fight for over a year and a half, and I'm a big fan of both of these guys.
I
Watching it,
am too. And that's the thing. I got my winner based on the bias. It's so biased, so biased.
man, you already picked
Um,
your winner.
so biased. But I'm gonna, wait till around the fight.
Yeah.
I do. It's not a 100% possibility. But I do think there's one person who I think got a better skill set in the table. But at the end of the day, it's boxing. Anyone get caught, they get caught. But
Exactly.
obviously, we got some UFC fights coming up next week. You'll hear from us for Adesanya versus Pereira. We definitely got some
I'll
NBA
fight as well.
playoffs coming up.
Oh yeah.
So that's coming up. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. It does seem like we got a good summer coming up and a lot of stuff planned. So we're definitely gonna be here to give you all that quality sports content.
Oh yeah. March just finished up March Madness, and March is one of the greatest months. April is one of the greatest months of sports as well. You got NBA playoffs. You got a lot of stuff going on. So definitely, it's gonna be exciting.
100%. So we definitely, appreciate all the support. Obviously, you already know www.whoyougotpodcast.com. Like we said, you get all the blogs, all the videos, all the
Yep.
podcasts, all the merch, links to all the places you listen, and obviously links to everywhere else you need to find us.
Definitely. And of course, if you guys want to check out our Patreon and, write down a topic or a question for the podcast, that's the place to go. Patreon.com/who you got. And if you guys want to definitely check out the merch there as well. Also, if you guys are watching the video, please make sure you guys click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys. And of course, you can always find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, as well as anywhere on social media. So definitely check us out there and our personal social medias. I'm the iconic dude on Instagram. Hello.
Melo the Notorious.
That's right. So definitely check us out, guys, and ask us all the questions you want wherever you guys want to find us. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching this episode, and we'll check you guys on the next episode of Who You Got with
Melo.
and Rado. Peace.
Peace.